Good morning, my name is Capaldo and it is Wednesday, April 5th, 2023. Thank you for listening. And this morning I'm going to talk about something, maybe I should have talked about this 4 days ago, but you know, it's April 5th, I'm talking about it now, and it's just, I would just like to go over something I've been seeing on social media, is that, you know, let us be April Fools no more, and I think that that's a very good theme and a very good thing to remember as we move forward, is that we spent far too much time being foolish and, you know, listening to people who meant nothing ill of us. And right now, just to recap, I'm still on YouTube jail, but there's a way now to get onto Facebook instead. But still, there's still the same issue of potential issue of censorship. I mean, so, you know, I'm going to say what I have to say, and you know, whatever happens, happens. You know, it's not. I think that basically, you know, what we talk about has captured the attention of the ruling class. Let's put it this way. And that's how it goes. And so my dog just came in, so I'm going to give him his bedtime story now. And I'll go back to 1 Corinthians 13 and do a little bit of that. You know, look at some of those verses, but then relate them to what's been going on the last few days, which you know, it just sounds cliche to keep saying it's unprecedented. We've never seen anything like it, but it is true. It's a totally let's say unique experience what's been going on, and it's, you know, I saw a headline this morning that was said something like Trump struggles to defend himself. Well, okay, yeah, when something is, you know, totally ridiculous, not to mention evil and corrupt, I mean, it might be difficult to defend yourself, but actually, I listened to what he said, and I think he defended himself fine. You know, he was a little bit, as he should have been, he was a little bit quiet for him. I mean, you know, he said some things that, you know, were totally what he says, consistent, but, you know, he didn't, there are things I'm sure he was advised, you know, that certain things don't say. But that's it, and you can see that we shouldn't fall for this anymore. And I think that's the problem, is that I think the Democrats have overplayed their hand. The ruling class has overplayed its hand, you know, with both political strategy and legal strategy. The legal strategy, obviously, being to draw things out as much as possible, you know, through the primaries. But, you know, Trump's base will give him the nomination, and then he gets defeated in the general because he's campaigning during a trial, and you know, I don't think he would end up in jail. You never know, but they would like him to end up in jail. But they're going to have this, if he is the nominee, they have the trial, and well, that's, you know, then they've always got the good old standbys, like the mail-in ballots and the machines. You know, they've got those good the tools of the trade. You know, when you want to create confusion in an election. But the game's not over. We don't know everything that's happening behind the scenes, you know, and I think that the legal strategy is very risky when basically you don't have a case, and what little case there may have been is really small, and it's the statute of limitations has run out on it, whether you interpret it as a state or a federal case, or, you know, a misdemeanor or a felony. The statute of limitations has run out either way. So legally, I think this is a big risk, to say the least, and really kind of foolish. And it risks also backfiring politically, because, you know, I hear more and more people who say, you know, I don't like Trump. I never voted for Trump. I'll never vote for Trump. I've heard all kinds of things, and people say, but this isn't right. This isn't right, and if this can be done to a big shot, imagine what they could do to me. You know, that's really, you hear that more and more. So you're starting to see, okay, on the fringes, you might have these, you know, far right, radical left people on the fringes, if you want to characterize them that way. But you're having more and more people who, regardless of whether they are Republican or Democratic, and, you know, what their political leanings might be, regardless of that, there are more and more people who are starting to think like citizens. This is what people need to do. If you don't want to be an April Fool, you have to start thinking like a citizen. And that everything in the world is not reduced to Democrat or Republican and blue and red and all this. There are some things that just go beyond that. They have to do with general principles. They have to do with good versus evil. They have to do with the ruling class versus ordinary people, regular people. And this is the way people have to learn how to think that way, how to rethink how they think. That to go back to the way things used to be. That politics has its place and people have their differences of opinion. If you want to go back to very early U.S. history, you had someone named John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, two of the early revolutionaries or patriots who had different on smaller issues. They had apparently a lot of differences of opinion, but they never failed to agree on the principles of freedom and constitutional republic and liberty and such. And they actually became quite good friends, even though they disagreed on some of the smaller policies and policy implementation. And that's the way politics used to be in different countries, in the U.S. and in Canada and in Western countries. But now it's like it's a death battle. It's a fight to the death, fight to the finish. And if you say the wrong word, you're vilified, demonized, canceled, what have you. And it's I think people have to say that they're going to be an April Fool no more. That's how many times have we been fooled historically? Because we have chosen to trust people who turned out not to be trustworthy. And there's no point trusting people who turn out to be trustworthy. This is the situation that we have now, and we've been taught. If you have kind of a Christian background, you have been taught, and I would say indoctrinated or brainwashed into thinking that you always support the authorities. We know the passages that are used, but that's a total misunderstanding of what that means. You don't support evil, corrupt, ridiculous stuff. No, I'm not saying you go into the streets and engage in some kind of violence, not at all. But you don't support it. You just say no. Things are being prepared now with in the economy and medical things are being prepared, and people have to just say no. We're not. We got kind of fooled into doing certain things or giving people the benefit of the doubt because being naive, we tried to trust people, and so we were in a way April Fools for a long time. And as I was saying in the last message, is that 3 years ago I could understand for myself or someone else that some of the things that looked so bizarre. Maybe the intentions are not that bad, and we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. And you remember all of that. You remember 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Famous last words, right? And where are we now? So after 3 years of this, how can you not? How can you have doubts that something is terribly wrong and that we've been played? We've been sold out. We've been played. So we don't want to be April Fools anymore. And that's very important advice that's being given in different places, and I'll give it to the people who tune into this, and if they have ears to hear. I think most of the people who stick with this, the things that I've been teaching and sharing, I think there are people that at least would like to know. There's a few, once in a while, you encounter, trolls and bots or whatever, but I think basically the majority of people, and it's just kind of a small core of people, but I think the people who listen are listening for a reason, that they would like to get some insights into what's happening, or at least be given something that they can go away and think about. And that would be really the best thing, is that if people are not sure, that they go away and think about it, and they go away and get some more sources of information, and just decide, is this really the way you want to live? And should we live this way? Has God created us to live this way? Live in this type of environment that we're living in right now. And I think you'll come to the realization that the earth is coming to a splitting point of of God or not God, and you're going to have to make a choice at some point. And I like to be encouraging and say that it's not too late, but I also know that there's not a lot of time. that I seriously believe, and that there's not a lot of time to to go through everything and truly change your mentality and start looking at things differently, start looking at things in the light of truth instead of in the light of deceit and falsehood and lies and all the stuff, that we hear. Last night, I was just curious, I wanted to watch one of the fake news accounts of, how they reported the indictment and arraignment. And so I did, and it's awful. I mean, it's like you need a shower after you listen to stuff like that. I mean, it's just they didn't give any sense of timelines. They just gave all this hyper politicized stuff, and they said this legal strategy was risky. Well, of course it's risky because they don't have a case. That's the problem. Is that at a minimum the statute of limitations has run out on all of this stuff that might have happened. And I just was seeing a headline this morning that one of the complainants had to pay Trump $120,000 for false defamation. That's what's her name? Stormy Daniels. That's a headline that I saw. I saw the one, Trump struggles to defend himself, and then I also saw this other one. So which one is it? It sounds like you've got the benefit of the doubt right there, right? You've got the reasonable doubt right there. So anyway, that's kind of a long introduction, but just to make the point that it's because we have twisted the idea of love. Not to mention that we probably forgot about it completely, but we have certainly tangled it up with all kinds of stuff that isn't love, that has nothing to do with love. And a little bit of leaven, except I think we have a lot of leaven, because really spiritual love, the love of God, has disappeared from many places. It's why getting away from God, it's why that the U.S. is in such a mess now, because there's a deliberate path to remove ourselves from God, and God will not stop us if this is what we decide we want to do. So basically we should just be thinking that we have God, but people want to use their free will to choose things that are against God, with all of the negative entities, the fallen angels, whatever. People want to choose that instead of choosing the Creator and the Spirit of God. So I'll just read a little bit from 1 Corinthians 13, verses 5 and 6. Love does not behave inappropriately, meaning that it's not rude, it does not dishonor, and it does not behave indecently. So what you've seen going on has been the total absence of love. It does not behave inappropriately. See, it's just, to pretend that there's some kind of big thing going on here, just to create a fabrication, so you can just stall your way through the next election and get rid of someone you don't want. This is, we hear all the cliches, but they're coming true. Is that the U.S. is a mess, and banana republic and all the rest of it. And this is truly getting rid of someone you don't want politically, political opponent. This is the idea, and it's the people who are doing this. They don't even make a serious attempt to hide it. I mean, that's. They don't give any serious explanations on why they're doing this, why they think that although the statute of limitations has run out, that this is a good case to bring, why they think that, okay, somebody made a bookkeeping or record-keeping mistake of something and entered it as something it wasn't. Okay, there might be something like that, there might be, but is it more than a misdemeanor, and is it more than the state level, and how do you try to convert it into covering up another crime, and in the indictment they don't even say what crimes would have been covered up? How do you do that and make a legal case? I mean, it's so obvious, it's pathetic, and we really should not be April Fools anymore, right? So what was the crime that was being covered up by these mistakes? What was it? And the statute of limitations has run out on all of it anyway. Right there, you're dead. So what's your legal strategy? Well, the legal strategy doesn't matter. It's the political strategy that matters. Can you drag things out until the election and Trump loses the election? Now, all of that being said, there is another narrative you can, or there's another way you can look at all of this, is that things are really, a lot of things have been decided already behind the scenes, and we're just little by little seeing the manifestation of these things. That's another way to look at it, is that really this is not serious, and it should not be taken as a distraction. And this is what the ruling class they want. They want people to be distracted by an event like this because it's Trump. You know, it's good ratings, it's good theater, it's good TV, and they know those April Fools out there. You know, they will just be distracted by it, and so we'll do all this other stuff to the economy and the borders and war with Russia and this and that. And as far as that goes, that they're playing with fire with Russia, and you don't have to think that Russia is a great place and you love Putin and it's the richest country and the freest country. No, none of that matters. It doesn't. It really doesn't matter. What you need to respect is Russia part of the divine plan? Does God have a plan for Russia, and what is its destiny? What's it there to do? Well, I guess right now it's there to be demonized and persecuted, and anything Russian is to be stomped on and vilified. But really, people have had a chance. I mean, the Russians have tried to negotiate certain things. Now another country has been added to NATO. That adds hundreds of miles of border where now NATO can move up next to Russia. So I think that the time of negotiation really is gone. I think that there was a chance with the Minsk agreements of negotiating something about the Russian-speaking areas of Ukraine, but now, because of the unwillingness of NATO and the U.S. to really negotiate, to engage in good faith negotiations, their unwillingness to do that, and all that has been coming to light about biolabs and children and Nazism and this type of thing, and the fact that the UN Security Council, when the Russians requested a commission on biolabs, the Security Council said no. Well, of course they said no because they don't want anything to be said about this. They don't want the truth to come out, but eventually it's going to come out. But in the meantime, you have to vilify and you have to say, oh, well, they don't know what they're doing anyway, the Russians. And I think that no matter what you think of the Russians, I think they know how to fight. And really, that what's going to happen now with all of this nonsense of NATO and the U.S., what's going to happen, and if that's your worst nightmare, well, that's the way it is. But what's going to happen is Russia is going to get all of Ukraine, get back all of Ukraine. Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia that's the ethnic homeland, and Crimea. I mean, there are still people that bring up Crimea. Crimea, it's about as Russian a place as there is on the face of the earth. I mean, and the idiots keep bringing this up. No, Crimea is Russian. Not only that historically it's Russian, but they had a vote on it, and it was like Kim Jong-un was envious of the vote. I mean, it was like 95%, 96% said, yeah, we're part of Russia, we want to be part of Russia. So anyway, I think that a lot of other things, positive things, would fall into place if the threat of war with Russia went away. Which is why exactly the people who rule over us want to beat this thing to death and go to war. It's also part of, its population and this type of thing, too many useless eaters and all of that, all that stuff. And if I get taken down, I get taken down. That's the way it is. But the more you study, the more you learn, right? And this is what we should do. We should not be April Fools anymore. That's just been too long. Too much of that. So love is not inappropriate. It does not behave inappropriately. It does not seek its own way, as though the ruling class has any concern for the people they rule over. They do nothing but seek their own way. Love is not provoked. Well, the ruling class is very easily provoked just by questions. I mean, why would you not ask certain questions? I mean, okay, you don't like Russia, you don't like Putin. What is the interest of the U.S. in fighting that war? What's for citizens, not for the ruling class, but for citizens? Why is that a good thing to do? I don't know. I mean, I can't think of a reason why it's a good thing to do, but this is what people should be asking, and that you are vilified and very often punished just for asking questions like that. So love is not provoked. So these actions on the part of the globalist elites that can have nothing to do with love, that's for sure. It keeps no account of wrong. Well, not only that account of wrong is kept, wrong is fabricated, that you did wrong and we're going to keep account of a wrong that wasn't really done, of a fabricated wrong. It does not rejoice over injustice. No, the ruling class thrives on injustice, but rejoices in the truth. No, that's not what they do. They rejoice in lies and falsehood and deceit. And they do rejoice over injustice. They're all about injustice. All of this that's going on, not just with Trump, but with the way people are being silenced and the way people are being treated, it has nothing to do with justice. So anyway, this is just a few ideas. I think that I think really what you want to retain from this is that, as a number of people have said, and I thought it was really great, it's why I talked about it, is that we've been April Fools for too long, and let's be April Fools no more. So I hope that you will actually put some steps into, in place, take some actions to go the other way, not to be a fool, but to acquire wisdom, to acquire divine wisdom, and then apply it to your creativity and production and calling and what you do in life. And eventually that would make a difference if enough people did not. So I'll let it go at that, and thank you for listening, and I hope it goes through on Facebook. I'll talk to you later. Bye.